All right, where is the agenda?
There's the light, the big light.
There's the agenda.
All right, may we call the meeting to order in a timely fashion today. And thank you, everybody. This is the first time. Everybody's been here for a long time, and welcome, Jean, back.
Hey,
We missed
Janie.
you. You've been gone a while, but due to health reasons, and we're so glad you're back. So,
Me too.
very nice treat for all of us to have everybody present. All right. So, we have a reminder, once again, that this is an open meeting and we must adhere to the open meeting laws. And we do have a quorum, we're all here, so no question about that. Do we have announcements? Patty?
I have two.
Okay.
When I went to Boston last month and not here at the meeting to attend the senior housing choice, where Littleton was recognized for housing choice, one of the housing choice communities. I went with Lauren from the planning department, and Keith was there. Very nicely done. Towns were recognized, but we were awarded a grant of $60,000.
Whoa, I hadn't
Toward
heard that.
housing.
Toward housing,
You know, that'll go into
to
the,
the trust?
yeah, probably go into the trust.
Wow.
I saw Keith at the Littleton Housing Authority meeting the other night and asked him how much we got, and that's what we got.
Nice.
Oh, wonderful.
So that was very good.
What an exciting piece of
And the other
news.
thing I want to report, at the Littleton Housing Authority meeting the other night, Keith came to speak primarily about the septic project down in the town area. And one of the hopes is that if that ever comes to fruition, that they hope to include Shattuck Street in that project. Because
Wow.
they have a lot of septic problems over there.
That would be nice.
So they're hoping that
That would be nice.
that could be part of that project.
Wow.
If it ever gets to reality. And, you know, they talked about grants from different places to help defray the cost for the Littleton Housing Authority, to be a participant in that project. So
Wow.
that's a big news for them over there.
That's great news for everybody, I think.
It
Yeah,
is.
that would be great. Yes.
Particularly for their, you know, with
Right.
all the issues they have with sewerage and
Right.
whatever. So I was quite surprised about that, but that's pretty heavy-duty news.
Wow. That's very exciting.
Yeah. I
Exciting
thought the
news.
grant
Both
was very
announcements.
good,
Great,
too.
great news.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So
That's
that
right. You
was-
were missing because of that event.
Yeah, that was.
And we were, I was very
the event in
curious as to
Boston
what
was-
happened that day, other than the fact that we were recognized, you know, but that's very exciting.
Yeah, we got a big, they passed out a little couple of highlighter brochures, and Littleton was included.
Yay.
So it was nice that we got recognized in print and color.
Well, Littleton's doing great things. We are. This town is doing some
So I
great
brought
things.
one back to give to Liz to keep in the Council of Aging office. So.
Yes, and unfortunately Liz is not with us today because her little boy is having some medical, needs some medical attention, so.
Oh, baby.
We will proceed. She did give her director's report out to us, and so we can review that. Any other announcements? No?
Not for me.
All right. The only one I have is just to encourage people in the community, especially seniors, to take a look on the town website. If you go on, type in Littleton, Mass., and you get the town website, and it will say over in the upper left-hand corner, Agendas and Minutes. Check the agendas for the planning board and the board of selectmen, you know, because things are happening. You know, there are issues about housing, there are issues about space going on, and just pay attention to it. You know, it only takes a few seconds, and if you have any questions, you spot something, then call the COA office and ask if you want clarification about, is it something that you might want to attend? We can always get the answer for you. So I just want to encourage people to do that and to be aware. All right, hearing no other announcements? Thank you. Patty's was much more exciting than mine, though, I must admit. So, all right. If you would, in your packet, you have the minutes from our last meeting. And we need to review those.
I have just one question. When we do with corrections, do we list the corrections? Because I couldn't figure out where the corrections were from the previous minutes. So it says in the May minutes, it was voted to accept the minutes of the April 9th meeting with 2 corrections, but it doesn't
Oh,
say what they
what-
were.
Okay.
One was to add my name to the list, remember?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
And one was
Baroness.
a date or.
They were both made, and what you received as the corrected minutes were, with the changes made.
That was we're talking about the April meeting and the corrections to those minutes. The April 9th
Same
meeting.
thing was true there, but
Okay. So, welcome.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
Are you Dr. Michaels?
Candace Michaels.
Nice to meet you.
Okay.
I move that we accept the May minutes as dispersed, dispensed.
I second.
All right, we have a motion, which has been seconded to accept the May 14th, 2018 minutes. All those in favor?
You said,
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
you said May
Unanimous vote.
14?
The May 14th
May
minutes.
14th minutes.
Oh, all right, I'm looking at something else. All right,
Okay.
I agree.
You okay?
I agree.
All right. It's been moved and seconded and unanimously approved. Bob, thank you. All right, and in your packet, you do have a copy of the Friends May 2nd meeting. And
In my packet, we have what?
in your packet,
Oh, in that.
it says at the top, Friends of the Littleton COA meeting, minutes from May 2nd. And also, we'd like to invite Barbara to the table right now. If you have any questions, so you spot them, or you can read them at your leisure, but she always gives us a good update. So, always keeps us informed, so I'm not worried about that. But I do want you
Maybe
to
I-
realize you have their minutes.
Maybe I better read those minutes.
You were there.
May 2nd, that was a while ago. I bet you read them already.
Hello, everybody.
Hi there.
Okay, so I just want to mention that if you passed through the courtyard entrance to the Shattuck Street building, you notice that we have new plantings. And I want to thank Sharon Corbin for going out and finding the organizations and the donations to get this project done. She decided she didn't like the look of it, so she just went for it. And she got it done in record speed time, too, which is unusual for us getting any projects done. The Girl Scouts gave some time to this project, and now I think they are going to earn it a bronze patch. And it also gave us another intergenerational project that we keep trying to keep that up. And so the Friends of the Council on Aging are slowing down for the summer. We won't have a meeting in July. The next one is in August. But we're still working on plans for things to happen 2018 and 2019. We needed to take a little time to recharge our batteries. Been doing a lot of things lately. We had another showing of the Follies this past Sunday, and now we're not showing another one. It's done. So
I
we-
heard it had a good attendance.
yeah. We also have DVDs for sale of the show if anybody is interested, and you can get them at the studio.
Great.
The big thing that for me is I'm looking for volunteers for the thrift shop. We have slowed down. We have a couple of volunteers that moved on, and so we're looking for a couple to help us with even just being a substitute, especially on Friday mornings. This is done by tax work-off or not. It doesn't matter, just volunteer.
I just have one question, because I wanted to do tax work-off last year in the COA office, and they said, no, I could not do it because it was conflict of interest. So I don't know if that affects you.
I don't think so, because my gals are tax work-off.
No, I'm not saying that, because I'm on the board.
They're not.
Oh,
You
I see what you're saying.
I can explain that. You are considered a town employee when you are on the board.
Mhm.
The Friends are a nonprofit, and they're not considered a town employees at all. So it
So I
doesn't-
could work in there.
No, you cannot. But they can. You are considered a town employee.
Yeah?
All of us that are sit on this board are considered town employees. All people that sit on other town boards are considered an employee of the town, part-time, granted. So therefore, that's where the conflict of interest comes in. But the Friends, that does not apply.
No.
They're not considered,
Town.
they're a nonprofit. They are not considered town employees at all. They are a totally independent, nonprofit organization.
Okay, but I
That
can
doesn't answer
still,
your question, though.
so where
So,
can I
so
do?
if they're a private organization, nonprofit, she should be able to do whatever she wants. If she wanted to work there, she should be able to.
She's not in the
No,
Friends.
she's on our board.
No, I'm talking about doing the tax work-off.
I know you are.
You cannot do that.
You cannot earn money.
They told, because they earn money,
Yes.
Yes.
but I can work in other departments. That's what I heard. I can work in other departments, but not in the COA. That's what Pam told me.
Maybe we're gonna have to have it cleared up.
Not in the thrift shop.
I will pursue this with Diane Croy to
Thank
get
you.
you the exact definition, so we don't waste time
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
right.
being confused. And I will send out an email, or I will ask her to send out an email even to explain it.
Okay, thank you.
Is
How's that?
income considered in that also?
Pardon me?
Is your income?
No,
No.
the thing
Okay.
is, if you are working in the tax write-off program, you are in essence earning money,
Right,
right?
right. Yep.
I think,
So,
I think
and-
it goes back to the whole argument that if you are on the board, you cannot be on the Friends Board because it's a conflict of interest for the two sides of the same
It
coin.
could be that too.
But, and it has
I will
nothing
get
to-
the
Well,
clarification.
but she wouldn't be considered on the board anyway, as far as that, the Friends Board, anyway. But we need to check on that, so that if people wanted to volunteer and they just happen to be on the board, and we really need them, it would be nice to know if they can or
So I'd
can't.
like to get involved in the
Maybe you
tax
can
work-off.
if you don't do tax work-off.
Oh, I could if I didn't do tax work-off.
Yeah.
That's not an issue, but I'd like to get that benefit.
Yeah, yeah.
I do believe it is, because I know I did it at one time too, and I had to stop because it was a conflict of interest,
But
so,
was it within the COA?
yeah.
Yeah, but
Okay.
can I go to the,
No, it was,
You can't
No.
do tax work off at all.
I will get the clarification from Diane, because I don't have the answer to that.
Yeah, we need to get it
I
clarified.
don't want to mislead anybody, and I'm not 100% sure.
But I don't, right now, I don't want to move on with that because I don't want to scare people who might want to
No,
volunteer.
That's true.
And,
The Friends, and it does not apply to the Friends, so let's
right,
make
we
that
are
clear.
nonprofit, private.
And they can do tax write-off.
We're
working
the
in
reason,
thrift shop.
we're the ones that are trying to make money for the Council on
know
Aging on the
that.
side. And one of the things is the thrift shop, which is our big money maker, so that we don't have to wander the streets begging for money. We have the thrift shop. And really, really need volunteers to come in, and especially maybe a couple who would like to work together to manage the thrift shop. I mean, I'll keep doing it, but I'd like to retire someday. And I think people sometimes are afraid of that particular job, but it's really fun. And if you've been in business at all or worked in an office, you can continue the feeling that you're still, working and doing using the talents that you've always had for whatever job.
Maybe
Yeah.
even having two people sharing it.
That's what
That
I'm
would be a
saying,
good
two,
thing,
even
yeah.
3, I don't care, but couple of friends, couple of not friends, I don't care. Anybody that would like to take over that particular job. And I'm hoping that this will happen by November. And I'm only saying that because that's my old day birthday, so I'd like to, I just would like to retire from that. I'll still work in the thrift shop and I'll still help, but the whole management thing, I'd like to turn over to somebody else. So that's my thing for today, and thank you for letting us come and talk. And Nancy's not here, but I know that she's working on other intergenerational programs, and they're going very well.
And let me just highlight your comment about the courtyard, though, and just echo your thanks. Thanks from the COA board, too, for the Girl Scouts and the Country Gardeners and the multitude of people that were involved. There were landscapers and there were
Kim Ahern for donating
her
her,
talents as the
she's the architect.
architect, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Thank you. There's multiple people, and I don't mean to omit anyone, but just we're very grateful. It's quite beautiful.
Yeah. So now use it.
Yes.
Use it.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thanks, Barbara.
Thanks,
And I
Barbara.
will get clarification.
Mary, what time
about
is
the
our
tax
meeting
write-off
on
program?
Friday?
12:30.
I have a big note.
12:30.
Okay.
And fashion show doesn't exist, okay.
Mary? No, thank you.
Sorry.
Okay. So, are we ready to move on to old business? Any
Absolutely.
questions? No more questions for Barbara? All right.
Thank you, Barbara.
So the, our first old business item is an update on the town building and space needs analysis working group.
This is not our group, this is the town group.
Right.
Okay.
And Liz is involved being a staff member, and I represent the COA on that, in that group. And we have a meeting this Wednesday, 2 weeks ago this Wednesday. We last met, and there was a lot of discussion about the concept of a campus. Thank you, David. I was looking for the word. And, having 3 buildings involved, the library, some kind of a senior center area and space, and town hall space for town offices. And I do believe Anthony's been working with some people on that, and we'll see where we are this coming Wednesday night. But that's where, and there was a decision made that, we know what the amount of space is the library desires. They have it all drawn up, and, they're way ahead of the rest of us, And so there was a request to start thinking about that, like the school committee. Well, how much space do they want? Do they feel they need, et cetera? How much space does the COA need, type of thing? And you have to remember also that it's not just, when we're talking about space, it's the COA, but it is also the Department of Elder and Human Services. It's not just the COA, because we have the elder component, which is the COA, and then we have the human services piece, and that involves staff. So it's a little bit different. You have to think differently a little bit. It's not just a COA, as some towns may have. So we will have our meeting this Wednesday, and I'll keep you posted
Thank you.
on where we're going. And we're trying to, there's been lots of suggestions and ideas thrown around with people saying, well, you could put the campus down in the back, where the library's targeted. They think there's room down there. Ultimately, this building, somebody even suggested this building be made into senior housing. It's all kinds of ideas have been thrown
Oh,
around.
that'd be a fortune.
So it would be very expensive, because it's extremely expensive to reconfigure a building like this with the cement walls and everything. But anyway, people are thinking, and that's good. That's not all bad. It's just very complex.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of moving parts.
Exactly, so. But that's where we're at, and everybody keeps plugging away at it. So I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Is that planning board looking for a square footage
It's not the planning board involved in this. This planning board is housing.
base?
This is space.
Space.
Space for offices, for a senior center perhaps, or something along that line, you know, space for seniors, we don't have adequate space. Space for the school committee, the school department, they don't have adequate space. Park and Rec have needs, so.
Oh, there was a, didn't mean to interrupt, there was a space needs study done
Right.
earlier in the year.
Correct, we have that.
And while much of it was inaccurate, each department did say how much space they had and how much space they were asking for.
It wasn't accurate, though, you're right.
Yeah.
So that really, we've looked at that.
But at least what they have is accurate, I think. What their
We've looked,
existing space
yeah, the
is.
group has looked at that,
Yeah.
you know, and I know the space that was reported as being needed for seniors wasn't accurate at all.
Yeah.
So, if you look at, you know, the guidelines, which you'll hear more about from the space subcommittee.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's where the town group is. And we meet twice a month, so the push is on to, you know,
Oh, yeah.
to really come up with some short and long-term plans.
Yeah, you mentioned the library earlier. The library is now third on the waiting list.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's third. All right, and from what I understand, we're thinking that it's not gonna be soon, which means if we were gonna find out whether the grant was coming now, it would be in the next 30 days that we would find out. Okay, in which case, then we have 6 months to secure the funding, which means we'd probably have to go to the October
Town meeting, right.
But we don't think it's gonna, we don't think
That's
that's gonna
correct.
happen.
That's what
We know for sure within 30
Yeah,
days.
Mark Rambucker is on this town space
Yes.
committee, and he keeps us informed about that.
Oh, that's
yeah.
good. Good,
Yep.
okay, good.
Yep. So, but that's true, the rest, I mean, other people should know that too. And the library is a $7 million obligation from the town, as well as the $5.8 million they're getting from the grant,
The grant, right.
but, which is a big chunk of change. So, yeah. But that's where it's at, and, you know, as I said, we are meeting every 2 weeks, and it's, yeah.
Well, I'm glad they're thinking of the campus aspect, because it means that to me, that means they're trying to include everybody, and that's a first.
It is first, and it's very exciting. Everybody is very open
Yeah,
and working together, and which is nice.
that's good.
It
That's
is
good.
very good.
Yep.
And that's an open meeting. You're all welcome to come if you want another meeting out at night. So, but anyway, welcome to attend. And it's not just the people, the members like myself. They are the voting members, but Chuck DeCosta is the chair, and Steve Moore is the vice chair, and I'm the secretary. So we do have, and other board members. I mean, you know, the school committee is represented, Park and Rec is, trying to think who else. But there's several people that are voting members, and then we have George Sanders is a
At-large,
Community
kind of at-large
represent-
guy.
yes, the at-large. There's 3 people that are from the community at large, et cetera. So it's a very good group of people.
Mm-hmm. Great, thank you.
All right, update on the space committee, going along our space subcommittee now, this is. Do you want to just give a quick
Yeah, I'll
update,
give you a
Patty?
quick update. The committee consists of Jean, Bob, and myself. And Liz attended the meeting, and Marge did, and Mary Picard showed up also. Thinking of Human Services and the Council of Aging, and the few people from the board who sent in some comments as a result of last month's requests at the Council of Aging meeting. I'll just identify what we thought the Council of Aging needed for space. We have not looked at figures of numbers or space, but this is what we believe we need if we have separate identified space facility. We're looking at a commercial kitchen and pantry, a dining area, a multi-purpose room to seat at least 150 people at tables possibly splittable by a divider if we had a smaller group or whatever. That could create small and large space. At least 4 meeting rooms about 20 by 30 feet. 4 office spaces plus a room for storage and filing and copying. A reception area and waiting space, which is absolutely non-existent. 2 bathrooms accessible with multiple stalls. An exercise room with equipment. Storage space. A room with a sink in it for podiatry, you know, when the podiatrist comes and he treats somebody. he has to
Massage, therapy.
Go to a men's room or a ladies' room,
blood pressure.
wash between patients, blood pressure, etc., anything medical. A wellness room with bed and chairs for emergencies. Should we have an emergency here, they just flop on the floor, you know, we have nothing. A library/conference room. Janitorial closet. Thrift shop space and storage. We talked about a separate COA versus a community center, renovating space to accommodate all of those entities would be an enormous prospect if you look at this building. So our next step would be getting reasonable projections of size. But we're waiting on that, depending upon what the town-wide space committee is doing. Liz is pursuing, looking at other senior centers around. She did give us a couple of plans from other towns, but this is a lot that we don't have.
Absolutely.
If you have, we currently have about 3,000 square feet. This is never going to fit into 3,000 square feet if you think about it. But it does include COA and human resources, you know, staff, area for people to come in.
And it's projecting ahead.
And we know, the projection per senior is 4 to 6 square feet. Right now, we have about 1,800 seniors in town. But the projection for 2030, I forget the number for the seniors for 2030. I lost it in my head.
It's supposed to be up like by 30% or something like that, I think.
It's in the needs report.
Needs assessment, you're right.
But I lost it in my head. So we're not looking at what we have for seniors now. We're projecting down the road. So you don't want to plan this and cut yourself short. So we're looking for the future. But if, after listening to that, if there's anything else that you folks can think about, do send it to me or anybody on the board so that we can add it to the list. But we thought this was pretty comprehensive.
I think a
But there could be a
cloakroom.
lot of things missing.
I think a cloakroom or a place to put boots and things of that sort designated, because in the winter,
She mentioned entryway, but that might be.
Well, you know,
No,
within a
waiting
waiting
area.
room, you would have space to hang a coat.
and boots and places to sit.
Patty, is there a way you could email us
I was
what
just
you
gonna
have?
ask.
Yes,
Yes, I can email, I think I can't copy it right now because I gotta get a new printer, but I think this is on my computer, I can send it to you.
Okay, that'd be great.
No.
Sure.
It'd be great if we could have that, because it, we could read through it again and maybe something would pop up.
Yeah.
Sure. I can email it to you.
I think you should have a candy shop and an ice cream shop.
So that's,
I think David had a question. Do you have a question, David?
Oh, no, I just was gonna mention, it'd be kind of crazy for me to sit and think of, oh, gee, we need that, and then email
Right.
Patty, and she'd say, oh, well, we already had that
No.
written down.
No.
I mean, and this
that
is
makes
very preliminary.
Oh, yeah, no,
You
it's
know,
just,
we're talking extremely preliminary, but we need to start thinking, because we know
Well, if you,
And I know Anthony is working on something else too about the whole project, so, but it's good. We need to, be ready when we are
Yeah.
asked. So,
oh, that would be.
can
that
you
would
send
be-
it out to them, Patty?
Yeah, I can send it
Okay.
out to
That'd be great,
I'll send
thanks.
it out to you.
As far as the funding goes,
We're not at that point, Mary, at all. We're not even talking money.
okay, because there's 3 points there.
Oh,
Okay.
well, we're not even talking money yet. I mean, that's
Okay.
down the road. There's a lot to,
Money,
it's
money,
very,
money.
well, we all know that, and we have the head of finance, the treasurer, and he's involved, so
Yeah.
he guides us.
Excuse me, we're not going to plan another meeting until we hear from the Townwide Space Committee, and/or Liz has more information from coming back from her visits to other towns. Or we get some
It's
more
a work in
information.
work in progress.
Yeah, it is a work in progress.
but at least-
right now,
We've started.
this is what we have.
The library paid, I think it was the library paid 30,000, didn't they, to get a,
We're not at that point. And it doesn't matter what they paid. When we get to that
no, but
point,
we're going to have to do something like that too?
maybe, I don't know. We'll see. The decision has to be made first, what we're going to pursue. We don't even know that yet, so.
It's going to be a very long-term process. The thing that concerns me is what happens in the meantime when we desperately need some space until somebody makes some move somewhere.
Yeah.
But that's another problem.
And that is the short-term part of things, and that is one of the charges for the town group, to come up with short-term, fixes,
Readjustments, yeah.
readjustments, as well as long-term. And you can't do both at the same time. Right now, they're looking at the long-term, and which will help pave the way for the short-term, we think. So, but anyway, that's where it's at. It's a huge project.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you very much. I just wanted to be sure you were all updated as to what's going on. All right, Maureen, update on the sub-awareness, awareness subcommittee, rather? Sorry.
It's okay.
It's not.
We've been meeting and working on a directory, a town directory for the town. And so we've been incorporating lots of different things, and we've turned them over to Liz. And there's someone who's working, I believe, this summer in the COA office, who's typing it all up. There's some discussion about where we might have it printed and when and how we would disperse it. So that's where we are now.
And what are your plans for third Thursdays? They have to be attended by, we have to get the word out, so that's a awareness subcommittee's job.
What do you mean, get the word out?
Well,
It's in the
we
paper.
always, no, but we always get whatever. We communicate with the public about the board, about just improving
We're meeting
awareness
on
of things.
Friday, we can,
That's a big thing, the third Thursdays. Thank you. Friday the 15th at 12:30 is the meeting, right?
correct.
It's up here. It's up. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And the Housing Subcommittee, which is another very kind of active thing. And there was a planning board meeting last Thursday evening, which Patty and Ann Lee and Bob attended. Before you got here, we were talking a little bit about it, but I thought it would be good to update the board on what happened, because there are 3 parcels of land in town that the planning board has been working with, a little bit here and there about building. And so what happened, this was concerning the King Street property down by Minor Cord, where Minor Cord now is, behind Minor Cord. So can somebody update us and fill us in? I understand there was a disagreement or lack of agreement, I guess that's the best way to say it, about what the definition of open space is. And that kind of got hung up things. But I wasn't there, so go ahead, Bob.
I want, let the subcommittee talk about it. Go ahead.
Well, from my perspective, the big issue was between the developer and the board. The issue of the board wants open space for this development that's up behind Weber's and near the high school. And the developer had designated the backyards of the development of the houses to be part of the open space, which didn't settle well with a few of the board members. And I have a feeling probably a few people in the audience as well, because I don't think you want, or I for one would not want my backyard to be open space so anybody could go waltzing through it. But then there were other board members who disagreed and thought that was okay. And actually, the developer said, well, the previous head of the planning board said it was okay. But the new head of the planning board said, well, no, I didn't interpret that way. So there was a difference of opinion between who was the planning director before and who's the head of it now. So they get into a bit of a to-do. So the next meeting is planned so they can decide what is open space and what is not open space. And that got really a little
It did,
Tense.
excitable.
yes. My first planning board meeting.
Oh,
was
wow.
like, whoa.
So that was interesting. One question that I asked about, because the last time the developer was there, and I couldn't remember whether it was March or April, they had been sent back to ask if a block of those townhouses could be eliminated and an apartment complex could be built. Well, that was a question that was going to be posed to them last Thursday night. I don't know whether it was posed because I couldn't hear.
Oh, yeah.
But Ed said, oh, I'm going to ask them about that, but I don't know whether or not it was ever asked.
I heard something about apartments but not, I don't think there was any big
Not there.
detail. Yeah.
Is Field the developer?
On
So
King
I don't
Street,
know
on
whether
King
that
Street.
happened, but they were going to ask that, because then they would have more option to get, quote, affordable for
Right.
seniors. And then there was a bit of a discussion of the cost of these townhouses as not really being affordable at $350,000 per townhouse. And the new lady on the board, I don't know her name,
Anna Houston.
what,
Right.
Ann Houston, Anna Houston, I think it
oh,
is.
is she newly elected?
She just was voted in.
Okay, well, she obviously did her homework because she had some questions for the developer, and had either read or talked to people and said, well, you know, from what I know, seniors want single, one level, not second story, and then, of course, the developer obviously had the answer that you would hear, well, it's more expensive, and you can't do it, and yada, yada, yada.
You
So
lose half
I
the
wa-
apartments.
I was pleased to see that she really was on target, that, you know, we don't want second levels for seniors. It's not what we're looking for.
Right, she is new to the board, and that was her first meeting, I
She's
think.
new to Littleton, too. She just moved into Littleton this year.
She's only been in town a year?
Well, just maybe a little over, but not much, because she
Isn't
bought
she
a house
on
up
the
by.
master program? Isn't she on the master plan?
I believe she's involved in the master plan, too.
Yeah, so,
I've seen her, yeah.
yeah.
But,
So I thought she was here longer.
just while you're on the housing,
We're not finished.
Yeah.
well, I didn't say you were, but when you're done, let me know so I can let you know something else about
Hey,
housing.
Bob, you were gonna say something, Bob?
Yeah. It was interesting. Those were some of the major items. What really is open space? What is the cost of housing and reasonable for a senior to purchase? Not affordable housing, but just any senior to be able to purchase, to downsize. Someone in the audience also wanted to stop development completely. As far as they were concerned, there shouldn't be any more houses, any houses built in town, because all it's gonna do is it's gonna increase the student population, because they see a lot of these houses, because they're not guaranteed to be senior housing under 40B, that people could come in, and if there aren't enough seniors to buy them all, they could come in and buy them and have children and increase the population of the
Schools.
schools. So, there's a lot of issues out there. This was a very interesting evening. And it really is, it shows it's gonna be a long time, and the planning board is gonna have to make some very serious decisions as to what the correct answers are to all of these questions that are being asked. I'm very impressed with this lady that just went on, because she seems to know what she's doing, and some of the other members too were very, very good.
It was a good meeting, and the gentleman who brought up the issue of children, he was told that he had incorrect information about the number of children in the school, that the town is growing senior-wise versus children-wise.
That's true, that is true.
And it is true.
That's correct,
And
yeah.
he was actually told that, which was a good thing, that the planning board spoke up and said that.
I also, but he was afraid of, was if you got a bunch of these developments and everybody came in with kids, all of a sudden you'd have a tremendous influx in the child population. I stood up and pointed out that the type of housing was not conducive to large families. It was only, even if it was a starter house, even if it was bought as a starter house, it would be for a young couple
With
just
one
starting
child.
out, but with only one bedroom downstairs and one bedroom upstairs. That would be the limit of, how many people could live in the house. The interesting thing was, they also pointed out a couple of things, that the idea was that the house was built on 2 stories. The developer pointed out that the couple or seniors could live on the first floor with the master bedroom and everything down that they needed there. And the second floor would be for children who might be visiting and someone who might be staying with them, and also for if there was a need of them having permanent care, to have that as a separate area that the person could have as kind of their own space if they had to be there 24 hours a day, which I never thought about, but that was a rather an interesting comment.
I just have a question.
Ann Lee had her hand up first.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say that there was a little discussion also on the area where for activities for the folks who live there to be able to walk or something, and being right on 2A, which is a state highway, they'd have to, and the sidewalk is on the opposite side of the road, that they'd have to cross 2A to get, and how long is it going to take for the state to step in to even paint a crosswalk on, and then also could there be something with the high school, because the high school is right behind that proposed area, some way to link the 2 places together so that seniors or whoever live there could go up there and get exercise or do whatever. But I just, well, never mind. Doesn't matter what I think.
They did make one comment that they're not really, they refer to seniors, but they're not saying seniors, because it's not really seniors, it's targeted, because the houses are built, so that the entryway is wider to accommodate a walker or a wheelchair. The bathrooms are accommodating. Somebody younger going there might wonder why it's made that way, but they're not. It's geared to seniors, but it's not called.
Well, it is, actually, because the warrants that was approved.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
did
it
say
is
senior
re-
residential.
Yes.
But
And
they're
and
being
it
kind
is on a
of
special
coy
permit.
with it, in a way.
It's a special permit for senior housing, but
Development,
it's targeted senior, it's not guaranteed.
It's not
senior.
restricted, correct. But it is targeted, and it is titled Senior Residential Development. That's
It
the whole
is, yeah.
article well, Mary.
I want to bring up something, being a nurse. a lot of times, as seniors get on, they require a lot of care, but they can't share the same bedroom if they're on dialysis, if they have oxygen and all that stuff, and if it's a small place, and they might have to consider putting 2 bedrooms on the same floor.
Well, that's why the new lady said 1 level. I mean, that's what seniors want, 1 level. They don't want a townhouse.
I don't even like going downstairs.
Mary?
Somewhere, and I think Bob hit on it, it was not affordable for the seniors, and the price range varied like from $350 to $560. Seniors downsizing, that is unacceptable.
Well, that's why we have to get out to these
Right.
meetings. You're right. That's why we need to be there to keep,
Yeah,
getting the
that's
word out.
unacceptable.
So, okay. Along the housing line, excuse me. I just wanted you all to know, too, that the town was notified. This was back, let's see, I don't know when the announcement came. It came out in March. And then this was tacked on. But the state Attorney General's office did approve our new zoning changes that we voted in the fall. That hadn't happened, it just barely happened a little while ago, but the state has approved all of the changes, so that's good news. And it's just so important that we pay attention to what's going on and get out and keep getting the word out there, so and I'm grateful that you attended. I was unable, I was out of town, so I had planned to go but had to leave. So. Thank you very much. Any other comments on the housing situation? We'll keep tabs on it. All right. Any other comments about any of that? Okay. So we're moving on to new business, and I'd like to welcome Dr. Angus Michaels. Would you come up to the table where it says guest, please? And Dr. Michaels has applied for a position on the COA board. There are going to be three vacancies the end of June, with 3 incumbents have applied, and then Dr. Michaels has applied for a position. So we welcome you.
Thank you.
We're glad you're here, and I'm going to start by introducing myself. I've already talked to you on the phone, so I'm Marge Payne. And I'll have the board go around and introduce themselves to you. So we have a few, before we do that, we just have a few questions that we ask all applicants
Sure.
for board positions, so we try to remain consistent and fair, So we ask the same questions of board applicants. So, Jean, could you introduce yourself and then go down, along and around and introduce yourself to
Hi.
Dr.
My
Ann
name is
Michaels?
Jean Johnson.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Maureen Donnelly.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, Ann Lee Ellis.
Nice to meet you.
Mary
Anne.
Picard,
Nice to meet you, Mary.
nice meeting you.
David Sill. Hi.
Nice to meet you, David.
Mary Catalanato.
Nice to meet you, Mary.
I'm Mary Hunt, and I'm the vice chair.
Thank you, Patty. Nice to meet you.
I'm Bob Stetson, and I live around the corner from you because I live on Goldsmith Street.
Well, nice to meet you, Bob.
Nice to know that you have friends in the neighborhood, right?
Yes, of course.
Acquaintances, anyway.
The board has a copy of your application,
Okay.
so obviously that needs to be shared with them. So, yes, David?
I live across the street from him.
Oh, do you?
Oh,
Oh, my
okay.
gosh, can you check the address?
This is getting dangerous.
This is cute.
Don't change
That's
your mind
interesting.
now.
Well, I guess I have to get out and about the neighborhood.
Have you lived here a long time?
10 years. I'm in my 10th year.
Okay.
Wow. So, and maybe you could just give us a little bit of a background and save the board members from really, having to kind of give a synopsis of things. And then there's only 7 questions, so we don't drill you a lot. We're
Okay.
easy. So, but it might be good, because you have a fascinating history, I think. And certainly it's relative to working with seniors.
Right, so that's my interest in coming to the board. I wanted to see if I could bring some of my experience and some of my knowledge to some of the things that the board does. The trigger for this really, as I was talking to Marge, was I was at a town hall meeting where I mean, I knew it was going to happen. I realized that marijuana was voted in and they were going to zone it. And, you know, I have young children in my house. I'm not against people doing what they want to do. If they want to smoke, they can do whatever they want to do. But I felt that I didn't think that there was any way there would be enough control to prevent some of it spilling out into the streets and getting to the hands of kids, and there's addiction problems and all kinds of issues going on. So I felt guilty not being involved in, you know, the processes that led to them voting positive to have that come into the town. So I made a decision to get involved in the town and, you know, be actually involved in the processes and make sure that whatever's happening, I have my 2 cents in there, and if it goes the other way, then so be it. So, and then when the opportunities come to choose, you know, things to do, I felt that I had enough knowledge and experience to work with the people on the Council of Aging. I work as a primary care physician. I have training in gerontology, which is the psychological, biological, and social aspects of aging. I also have a business, master's in business administration degree on top of my medical degree. So I do believe that I should be able to help in some way with whatever the board is doing. I mean, I've listened to the conversation and they're very in-depth and well thought out. And in fact, I did intern at a Council of Aging when I was getting my gerontology degree. And some of the things you listed in the sheet for the new building or the new proposed facility are some of the things that that I have actually experienced firsthand, because I actually went into a Council of Aging. I think it was about a month. We went there every day. We saw the things that they were doing, and they had all those facilities. And one of the things that wasn't in your list was you did have the kitchen, a shipping and receiving dock where they could ship and receive Meals on Wheels. Because where I interned, they had that. They could do, right out of the kitchen, they could do Meals on Wheels. And I think that was a good benefit for the elders. Sometimes if you can't get out of the home, just one hot meal is enough to nourish the body and the spirit, you know. So I thought that was something interesting. There are several other things that we'll be looking at. If you guys agree, I should come here, but that's another discussion. But that is a synopsis of why I'm here. I want to help. I want to be able to participate. I want to be able to answer questions. I want to be able to see a benefit accrue to the elders as they age. And you know, you want people to age in their homes, to age on their feet, not to age in somebody else's money-making facility on their backs. So people want to age on their homes, and I think that if the town puts more effort into it, it should be a reality.
Well
Thank
said,
you.
well said.
Thank you, that's very good, very nice.
Thank you.
Yes, explanation for us. What will happen is, it's interesting because the selectmen are meeting tonight, as you know. The selectmen will be meeting tonight and making appointments. And the COA, this board's responsibility is just to make a recommendation to the selectmen. The selectmen make the decisions
Right.
as to what, you know, who's on the board and who they're going to appoint, et cetera. So, but the reason that we invite potential board members, everybody sitting here has gone through this. So, and we usually do ask the questions, and then we take a vote right away as to that. And I will attend the meeting tonight, and, you know, if they ask,
be there.
then I can share with them, so. Pardon me?
I'll be there.
Well, that's good. So, all right. I would like to start with the questions, and that doesn't mean that we cannot, you know, I know you have a tight schedule, so you made it possible to get here today, and that may be a question that, I don't know if that's down in here, but we can talk about that after the questions here. So, I just talked about the fact that board members, I'm going to kick off the questions here, are appointed by the selectmen. And you heard us talking earlier about how board members are considered employees of the town when they were discussing the tax write-off program. But that responsibility of being considered an employee of the town brings with it an obligation to adhere to various laws, obviously, as well as taking training. Board members have to go to at least one training, some kind of an educational course every year, which as a doctor, I'm sure you do many of, so. And we are on TV now, and that's disturbing sometimes to people to know that, you know, the meetings are open meetings and they are televised. So we like to make that, people aware of that. And there's all other little things, you know, you have to obviously be sworn in and do online trainings, the typical privacy ones and things of that nature you're aware of. I know you are because of your profession. So, do you think you'd have any difficulty adhering to any of those requirements? That's just a broad question, but it's important, very important.
I shouldn't really, because it comes along the territory of what I'm already doing anyway. There's confidentiality, there's continuing education, which falls in line with.
Right. Okay, thank you. So why don't we just go around the table? We can go, Bob, we'll start with you this time.
Let's start over here, I want to finish.
You want to finish? Okay, Jean, go ahead.
Okay. How will your skill set enhance the COA board?
I'm hoping that with my skill set, my training and education, I can assist with policy guidelines and decisions. I basically contribute my part towards the policy decisions that the board will be making. And I'm hoping that they will enhance whatever it is. Does that satisfy, or you need more?
I have a question. Do you understand, wait a minute, what do I want to say? Oh, God. Senior moment, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, perhaps I
Senior moment?
You might remember but I would like to just speak to that a little bit too. The issue is, I want to be sure that you understood that the COA board is not a management board.
Yeah,
We do not manage and supervise. The director of Elder and Human Services, who is not here today, unfortunately, she usually is present at all of our meetings, and we work extremely closely with her, and we make recommendations to her, but we do not supervise her. We do not establish policies per se. So that
all we can do is advise.
we do. We do advise and make recommendations and everything, recommend.
And we raised to her issues in the senior community so that she, you know, we make sure that they're addressed and so forth.
And we get out, obviously, as you could hear me pushing, you know, we got to get out to these housing and planning board meetings and the space meetings, because these are two big issues for us right now, and we need to advocate for seniors. So we do need to get out to these meetings and show our face. So, just so you understand that part of
Right,
things. I'm sorry, but
No, that's exactly what I was going to talk about.
is that what you were thinking about? Okay, good. We think alike.
It came back to you.
Okay.
It did, as soon as she said it. It's like, oh, yeah, okay, fine.
Okay.
So, when faced with disagreements or contentious situations, how do you think you would be able to handle them?
We'll put it to the vote. and see who comes out ahead, and that's the line we'll go.
Okay.
That's within, you're talking about within the board.
Within the board, yes.
Okay. What if you're out in, like, as we say, the third Thursday, that's the thing where we get out into the community, and it's an evening thing. But what if you got into, what if someone kind of came into your face and gave you a bad time about what was happening? How would you diffuse it, I think, is what I want to know.
Well, I'll just tell them that I've made note of it, and I'll bring it to the attention of my colleagues, and then we can make a decision that way.
Pass the buck.
Well, not really, but he.
Not a bad idea.
Good.
I think you've addressed this already, but what are your interests with regards to elder services?
Well, it comes with the fact that I've watched my grandmother age. Well, not literally that was there. I mean, you know, she died at the age of 81. I watched my father, but he died at the age of 74 through a car accident, not from natural causes. And my mother's 80 now, and she's aging on her feet. And the territory is an area of interest that I've trained in,
Yeah.
so that encapsulates everything.
May I ask you, where did you come from? Only because I want to know, do they have the same problems that we have here?
So my parents are Nigerian. They have exactly the same problems you have. People are aging to be old. I mean, all the people I've mentioned are old. They're over 65. With regard to my grandmother, there isn't an organized social service as it is here, where people are housed in nursing homes and everything. But she was aging, and she had arthritis bad to where she needed help. And this is not something that every family can afford. My father paid for a live-in house help who did her shopping, did everything for her that was necessary, and that's the way. So the families took care of their own, and the state wasn't really involved as such, other than they do some minimal help, but it's not that great. So the families took care of their
And I
own.
think,
Thank you.
yes, thank you very much. And you did specify and say earlier on, when you were talking to us, I think, about how you valued aging in place in the home. And to me, that's an important thing, and I think you're very obviously in touch with that here in this area, so.
Okay, what other volunteer positions have you been involved in?
Well, I did volunteer. I did an Alzheimer's. I've forgotten what they call it. The Alzheimer's Day one year. I was their advisor, and I took part in the walk. I've done. I can't remember everything I've done. I give speeches at the Heart Health for Women, which they do in Lowell. I've given talks for men's health. I've given, so those are volunteer things. Things that I've done, but not really taking a position as a job as a volunteer.
Thank you.
I'll ask the regular question in a second, but I just want to get back and mention that these meetings that we have, the once a month on a Monday, they start at 1:30 in the afternoon and run till 3 or 3:30. Is that?
Shouldn't be a problem.
compatible with your schedule? I mean, you seem like a pretty busy guy.
So it's not, and we talked about this a little bit when we were talking on the phone. For instance, today I've had to clear the rest of the schedule, and I worked through lunch in order to be able to come to this meeting. So it potentially could be a problem, but I don't know how it's going to work out. But this is the first meeting, and we'll see how it goes. Now, again, the day is actually like Monday. It's one of the busiest days of the week. And so it's something that I'm thinking about as to how we're going to work it out in the office. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
And usually we have subcommittee meetings also, so it might be another day of
which you need to be a member of at least one, so.
I see. Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay,
Number 6.
number 6. As you think about Littleton's aging population, what strikes you as needing the greatest attention at this time?
So, Littleton has a low crime rate per se, but I think that one of the things that probably needs to be highlighted is the mistreatment and financial abuse as opposed to physical abuse. I haven't seen or read or heard of elders being accosted and mugged in the streets or anything like that, but I'm sure that there's stuff going on behind the scenes that's unreported and unknown. So how do we flesh them out, and how do we manage them? Because that's one of the biggest things affecting elders, not just in Littleton, but all over.
Very true, I think. It is true.
For such a young man, you have a good background working with the elderly. You have a feel for them. Usually when they're young, you don't think about the aging process. It comes upon quickly. But I'm very impressed with everything you've said so far.
Thank you.
Okay.
You, with all what I've heard, you've answered and addressed all what's come to my mind, so I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I have been sitting here trying to figure out how we can use you best, and it may not be on this board. I'd love to have you be a personal consultant to our director, because you have the knowledge and skills that are far beyond what the reach of this board is, and I think that you may have some serious problems with making meeting times, subcommittee assignments, those kind of things on the actual board, but wow.
Yeah.
Would I love to have, would I love to have you as a consultant to help us with many of the issues that we struggle with, and especially for our director and our social workers, because Nicole is one of our 2 outreach coordinators, and it's so important to deal with those things. So I don't know what to say. As I said, I'm extremely impressed with you. And I may be over on a walk someday to pick your mind, but I don't know. It's very fascinating what you've said to us, and I really appreciate that. But I'm not sure that you could handle, with your present schedule, the kind of thing that we would be asking of you on a very much lesser level than your skills
Right.
on this board. That's just a personal opinion.
Yeah, but I'll echo what you said. We don't want you display a large amount of talent for a lot of stuff, and I don't think we'd like to see you just
Disappear.
And to know you right in town is, wow.
And maybe some of the other boards would be more appropriate.
Well, I think if you notice, Dr. Michaels did express, and I think he might be
Was planning.
on the Littleton Affordable Housing Trust Board of Trustees, And I think the selectmen are making those appointments tonight too, are they not? I believe they are. But there's a vacancy, a COA board member will be on that trust, actually, it's on our agenda today to make that appointment. However, that might be, I would anticipate that board will be meeting at night, and it would not be meeting, if they will meet depending upon the need, but it's brand new. They just have developed this Board of Trustees to manage the $60,000 that she was talking about that was, that's part of the zoning changes and the whole planning board zoning changes that we voted in last fall. So that might be very workable for you, and it might be a great way for you to get your foot in. But I also echo what he just said. You obviously have a lot to offer the town. And this is Nicole you were sitting behind her, but she is one of our social workers here in town and outreach workers. And she walked out just as you were explaining your concerns. No, well, I thought, boy, you just missed it, because he was concerned. He was asked the question about, as you think about Littleton's aging population, what strikes you as needing the greatest attention? And he alluded to the fact that even though we don't have a high crime rate in town, we do have abuse, and this hidden abuse, and we know that. And Nicole probably knows it better than any of us do, because she interacts with so many of our seniors and et cetera. So that fascinated me, and I thought she needed to hear you say that, so. Yes, it's true, but, and I echo that, because there's so many things. As we're the elder portion of the Department of Elder and Human Services, but there's the whole Human Services piece of this department that exists too. And they deal with all ages, but you have a great sense, and obviously your specialty is in gerontology, but,
And the buildings they're talking about have specific needs for elders that need to be incorporated, and all the things they mentioned are actually true. And I'm not sure that it's a good idea to cite a building for elders right next to a high school. I mean, I'm not saying the kids...
no, they weren't talking, that wasn't what they were...
Oh, okay.
The plan for the campus is down behind this building,
Oh,
but
okay.
not near the high school.
Okay.
That was housing that's going in, it's like,
But that is senior housing, and yes, it's
Senior
going in there
housing.
near the high
Yeah.
school.
Right.
And they're even hoping to tie it in with the storage, so they don't...
Right, yeah, some of those kids, some of the high school kids can be mean too.
oh, yeah,
So
you're right, it's a tough
I'm
age,
not
that's
sure
tough
it's,
age.
yeah, I'm not sure it's an
So-
appropriate location.
But-
And,
And I too echo their concerns about being fair to you, because I don't, I'm a little concerned about, because we have so many daytime meetings, the awareness subcommittee, these subcommittees, it's part of the job description that you serve on one, and they meet during the day.
right, right.
Generally once a month, but still, it might be hard for you, and we don't want you to go into it with open eyes,
Right.
understanding what it is. But I agree, there's gotta be some way we can find a way. Maybe the selectmen will have a good idea tonight too, about how and what would really be helpful. I think you have a tremendous amount to offer.
Absolutely.
All right, I appreciate the honest comments and everything, and I'll work with whatever you recommend. Even if it's what he was talking about, working with the...
We'll have a long talk with Liz
Well,
about getting
yes.
together with you personally.
When Liz, yes, it's too bad she's not here today too, to hear you and meet you herself, but I'm sure she would value having that kind of a connection. It would be nice if you had a resource like this, that we could realize. Yeah.
It is necessary now for us to take a vote of who we would recommend for the next 3 years for the 3 positions that are available, and there are 3 incumbents plus yourself. I'm going to move that we recommend to the Board of the Town Selectmen, the 3 incumbent members, not with any negatives towards you, but because at this point, I think you could be much more helpful to us in a different role, and I'm not sure that you could handle a board membership on this particular board.
Right.
So that's the reason. But wow, don't go away.
Sure, I do agree.
David, And Bob, both of you are neighbors, you gotta connect with him.
Yes, I'm right across the street from you. I should have introduced myself sooner.
Yeah,
But
that's so.
if, when Liz comes back, okay, I'm sure she's going to be very interested, okay? Is that something that you could work with?
Sure, I'll
Good.
discuss with her.
And Liz can pursue that too, maybe she can figure out some, a way of,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, your skill set is too valuable
Yeah.
just to not do anything with it.
Right.
We got to have you do something.
That was good.
Sure.
Very nice.
all right, I think we did have a motion, I heard
Yeah.
Bob say I move, and so I guess I.
Second the motion.
I would move that we recommend the 3 incumbent members and for the selectmen tonight.
But, can we add,
I'd
No,
like
we
to
can't add anything to
No,
that
I
motion, but we
understand
can
you
add a
made it.
comment afterwards, and I've
go
already
ahead,
put it
it's
in.
been seconded too, I think. Do you want to second it again?
I'll second it, yeah.
Okay,
I thought it wouldn't be right for me to do it, since I'm an incumbent.
well, that's true. I guess, yes.
Yeah.
Why can't it be referred at that meeting that we had an excellent
Well, we can have
candidate?
some discussion before we take the vote. So now, you were saying, what were you saying?
Well, no, but what I was saying was, in the event that we are taking the incumbents, but we have this wonderful, wonderful resource, is there a way we can bring that information to them to utilize him or suggest where
Well,
he
that-
might be the best asset to
That
our
was
town?
my question too. I didn't know whether or not we could incorporate into the motion and something about with a recommendation that something, be pursued, investigating how we could benefit from his willingness and offer
There's a
of.
list here.
Well, could we just either restate the motion or amend it?
I don't know, Bob?
You can do whatever you want to do.
I just bring one thing to the table, and that is, do we have the ability to suggest that this is what the selectmen should do, as opposed to,
We can recommend
You can recommend.
to
You
the
don't-
selectmen,
They don't have to, but.
and
they-
that's the motion that he
Right.
just stated, was to
I will
move to
also make-
recommend.
I will make a note that in that Marge can recommend to the selectmen that we have a very tremendous resource in gerontology, which they might want to make use of, and that we will be encouraging Liz to work with him.
In the most serious way, we encourage that,
Yeah,
yes.
All right.
so that's all we need to do.
Are you good with that?
Yep,
Well, whatever it is.
All right,
it's not a part of the motion.
It's not part of the motion, but as a group, you are saying, I'm an incumbent, so I gotta.
That's right, that's why I'm trying to keep my
I
motion.
know. So, I am an incumbent that is being affected by the motion myself. So, but I can and I will speak to the selectmen about our interview, and you'll be there. You're going to be there tonight, so I'd be more than happy to do that, and I think that they would accept that,
Sure.
so. Okay,
Very good.
well, yes.
Am I released?
Are you released? Yes.
Thank you very much,
Well,
all of you.
no, I
Thank you.
think- Very
Nice
nice to
meeting
meet
you.
you.
Okay.
Yes, no.
I'll be looking out for
Thank
both
you
of
very, very much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now
Okay.
you
You'll
have
have my
your
address.
friend.
Stop by.
And he knows where you are, right? He's right across. I'll see you tonight. Yeah,
Thank you
Thank you
very
very
much.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we need to take a vote.
Thank you. You have a motion on the floor.
We do have a motion on the floor. I haven't forgotten. So, all right, we have a motion that we are moving you to recommend the 3 incumbent members to the Board of Selectmen this evening. That's the motion. Correct, Bob? He didn't hear me. Oh, okay. All those in favor?
All right.
Aye. Opposed? None? Did you vote?
No,
Because you're an incumbent?
because I'm an incumbent.
Okay.
I just kind of feel like
Well,
You
that's.
can vote to
three.
have yourself
Three, four.
recommended.
well, all right, I can vote for you two. Yes, I'm in favor.
We have a unanimous vote, I think.
Yeah.
So, okay, thank you. And I certainly will speak on behalf of Dr. Michaels. I agree with everybody. I think he would be.
Okay, here's what I said. It is moved, seconded, and voted to recommend the three incumbent members of the selectmen. Marge will recommend our feelings from the group that they find ways to utilize Dr. Michaels and his experience. We will recommend to the board, okay, that, never mind the rest, okay.
Well, I mean, it can be any number of ways. It might be, and first and foremost, it would be to have Liz chat with him, I think, and get a sense of, maybe it's just to come and be a speaker, in the beginning occasionally or something. I don't know what would work, but
Sounds like he has a very busy practice, though.
it does. If you read his application and resume and everything, he works at UMass and
And like he said, he just had to rearrange his whole
he
day.
did, and he went out of his way to do that, and I will point that out to the Board of Selectmen tonight, too, which is admirable, I believe.
Yes.
It is. So I think he's very sincere, and so, thank you all. It's the first time we've ever had more than the incumbents, filling vacancies, and so it was a little different this time, but it's
But I think
unique.
we're right. He is overly
Qualified.
He's very,
No question.
he's very qualified to serve on this board.
Oh,
And if he just said, oh yeah, I can be here every week,
It would be no problem.
that would have been a great thing. Then
No
we
problem.
would have had to seriously consider what to do, but,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a doctor though. He can't guarantee to be here at 1:30.
No.
Not in the middle of the day, and especially, like you said, on Mondays.
On Mondays is
Mondays are
busy day. so.
horrid.
Oh, no.
What a
yeah.
guy though, nice fella.
Oh, he is, yeah, you got a nice neighbor there, David.
Sometimes, neighborhoods are just like
All
that.
right. All right, we are up to, moving on to the nominating committee's report.
It's you.
Oh, it's me.
Hey, that's the nominating committee, and
You have all the
Ann Lee
info.
took the lead.
Well, no, we spoke with the,
Actually, everybody. We spoke.
everyone. We spoke with everyone, and the three officers who are in there have agreed to go on, and no one else was jumping out of their seats to take over. So we want to propose that the three officers now continue for the next term of office.
All right,
I second it.
Yeah, well, each one of those officers has said that they would be willing to continue. So,
okay. So we have a motion,
Broken arm, though, I noticed.
we have a motion on the floor to
You have a report of the committee.
report of the committee. Okay, tell me when you're ready.
Any other recommendations?
Are there any other recommendations? Do we need to vote on the slate of officers, Bob, I believe?
Yes. Yes.
I know. I don't know where he's at.
Trying to catch up with this.
That's fine, then if there's none, somebody can move to
Move the
accept the
motion.
nominations and cast one ballot.
All right.
Yeah.
Who's moving to accept the nominations
I second.
Second the motion.
and cast one ballot?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Ann Lee is casting a ballot. Ann Lee. Bob? Got it? Okay.
I think we need to go to school. For all these rules.
I know.
Robert's rules.
And you have another item, Ann Lee,
I
the
do.
nominating committee?
Do we vote on that first or not? Or do
We just
vote on-
voted. She just,
Oh, we
you
did?
cast a vote.
Cast the one.
Oh, I
vote.
guess, okay. Okay, the
That's yours and mine.
Membership.
membership committee, I was waiting for Mary to. The membership committee has a proposal to elect a past board member to emeritus status. The membership subcommittee proposes to elect past COA board member Barbara Cam to emeritus status.
Yes.
Pardon?
That's the motion, but you have to ask for questions before you can move anything.
Okay. Barbara Cam has served the Littleton Council of Aging from 1990 to 2017. And whereas she served as the vice chair and treasurer of the COA board on multiple occasions, and whereas she served on the nominating committee on multiple occasions, and whereas she helped establish the first social daycare proposal in 1997, and whereas she served many years on the membership subcommittee, and whereas she has assisted and is still assisting in the senior diners on Fridays, providing soup and salads, and whereas she would substitute as a driver for Meals on Wheels when necessary, and whereas she attended selectmen meeting when they were discussing special concerns for elders, and whereas she attends special functions provided by the police, fire, and Littleton Light and Water departments, and whereas she has worked with the Friends of the Council of Aging, assisting in their many social events, decorating, sewing, and participating in the Follies, which she did this year as well. Be it therefore resolved that we, the members of the membership subcommittee, submit the name of Barbara Cam for emeritus status, as she has served the Littleton Council of Aging with distinction, grace, and honor.
Is there any discussion?
I approve and submit a motion that we just accepted, have it seconded, and everybody approve it.
Yeah.
I agree.
Was it
I
always?
agree.
I thought it was Friday that they had the soup and salad.
Oh,
No.
who cares what day?
I mean, I thought it was Thursday.
No, it's Friday.
No, it's Friday.
Okay.
But just may I make one comment, though, and have, where it says that she would substitute as a driver for Meals on Wheels when necessary? And I would ask if we could eliminate the when necessary, because she did that. But I don't think she did it always when necessary, because she,
She was a regular driver for a while.
she did it once, and then she said, she got lost and she had difficulty and everything, so, but she did it. But I don't know that it's fair to say that she did it when
I
necessary.
did that, and I got lost at Lake Mattawamke. I was riding all around
I
that.
move that we accept Barbara Cam's nomination for emeritus status
I second.
with acclamation.
Thank you.
I second it.
All those in favor? Aye. Yay. All right.
And she's sitting home watching this meeting.
Is she? Congratulations,
She always
Barbara.
watches it.
Congratulations.
In life? In life?
Yes, yeah.
Hi, Barb.
She's a very devoted COA person. She really is, and she stepped
Really
down, but
and
she
truly.
deserves this. We will have to plan a function to acknowledge this. So, all right, thank you all. All right, now, the next on the newer business, we have a gift from the Morrison Charitable Foundation, which we are grateful to receive, in the amount of $2,500.
Ooh, nice.
And they have given this donation to us previously, so we are very grateful. Now, we need to vote to accept the gift.
Is it specified?
And it is not specified. I did ask Patty, when Patty and I met with Liz about where she thought the funds should go, she was going to let me know, but she forgot. So I think we can accept it with the recommendation perhaps that the funds be used at the discretion of the director.
That sounds perfect.
I move that we accept the gift from the Morrison Charitable Foundation in the amount of $2,500 to be determined where it will go.
By
By the
By-
director.
By
the
this-
director.
Right.
I second that.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Did you get that, Bob?
Yep.
Okay. Did we do that right?
Yep.
Okay. I'm never sure whether I'm doing it right or not, but, okay. Thank you. All right. Now, we have to make an appointment for a COA representative on the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board of Trustees. Now, as you recall, that was part of the articles that were voted in the town meeting, that there would be developed in town this trust fund, a board of trustees to manage the money that contractors who opt out of providing affordable housing when they are putting plans together, have to contribute money to the trust fund,
Okay.
to the town, and the town then has the money. That trust fund is the same trust fund that Patty was saying, the $60,000 that we just got from the state is going into. And we don't have it established yet, so they're pushing to get this established. So we need the motion at the town meeting, spelled out the membership, and one COA board member was to be on this, appointed to be on this Board of Trustees, the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board of Trustees.
Marge, when do they meet?
Well, they haven't gotten together, but I'm guessing it would be in the evening. It would probably be people, there's going to be, if, we were just talking to Angus, and if you notice on his application, the members at large were listed there, and I think they're appointing them tonight, maybe two, so, but I'm guessing it would be at night. So I'm guessing they're gonna have a meeting to get organized right away, because Keith actually sent this out, and it said, the Housing Authority and Council on Aging will each have one seat on the new Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board of Trustees. Have your boards made these appointments? And we're hoping to convene a first meeting by month's end. Thank you very much, Keith. So, therefore, we need to figure out who is going to represent us. And I would guess, this is a guess, totally, but I can't imagine that you have to have too many meetings until there's a lot of money and you gotta decide what to do with it, right? 60,000 isn't a lot of money when you're talking about a house, building a house.
How many people are gonna be on this board?
I forget.
7 vacancies.
They're getting
But it says
they're
in the
getting
application.
the committees.
Oh, that's for the community at large, though.
They're getting this committee set
is
up
it?
because
Littleton
of
Affordable Housing Trust
Senior
Fund Board
housing
of Trustees,
projects.
7 vacancies.
But that's for people to come forth. That's in addition to, like they were on the, I believe.
So how many people are there gonna be on this board? More than 7?
I don't know, David, I don't have the
Well,
other.
if we, let's say if Miss X
I didn't bring them.
volunteers, is she a board member or just an associate?
You will be representing the COA board, and then so you would have a vote.
Okay, so
That person would be sitting on the board. The board will eventually make decisions on funds that have been given by developers towards affordable housing as to how that money will be used. That's the purpose of the board.
And just like the Space Town Group, there is one COA board member, voting member in the group. There are, in that group, 3 people from the community
At large.
at large. But the COA board member is not included in that. When it says 7, it's not counting with it, I don't believe. I'm not sure, but I don't believe so.
the importance of this Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board goes back to like the housing meeting we had the other night at the planning board. Developers that are building housing, if they build 30 units, 4 of them can be designated for housing. But if they don't want to designate them to housing, they can pay a fee to the town, and that fee goes into this trust fund.
That's what I just said.
That's, oh, I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I did.
And that's the importance of this trust fund.
Right. It helps collect money.
So this is important.
Who would
money.
like to do this? So that I can submit your name.
I would be interested in doing it. My only concern is I am not able to make meetings on Wednesday and Thursday evenings. So if it were gonna be Monday, Tuesday, or Friday, I
Right.
certainly could do it, but I
Well,
don't
The
know.
board will make its own decision as to when it meets.
That's right. And if you can't, if you are the designated person and you go, and then you find out that you can't attend the meetings, you're outvoted, then we'll have to appoint somebody else.
Right, I mean, I would be interested, but
go for
Okay.
it.
All right, that's fine. I
I
will,
move that we
You just
appoint
be mowing
Maureen
and
Donnelly
tell
as
them
the
Monday night.
COA representative of the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board of Trustees.
I mean, and that's what happens when you first meet. It's an organizational meeting, and you do decide what night and when you're going to be meeting, so. See what happens, and hopefully
Okay.
it works out. Thank you,
If
and
not,
I will
If not,
answer.
I'll come back to the board and say I can't do it.
That's right,
Yeah,
you just have
well,
to say, I need.
I would consider it also, but let her go first.
Okay. All right, and then I'll send your name along to Keith so he knows. And you'll be hearing from, probably, I don't know, probably Diane Croy. Usually she's the one that puts the messages out.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Did we take a vote? Bob,
Haven't
no, we
voted-
did not.
Haven't officially voted yet.
No, but Bob moved. And do I have a second on that motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That Maureen be appointed, okay. I voted also, unanimous vote, I believe. There were no abstentions, were there, or negative votes?
There wasn't any, no abstentions. I voted.
Good, thank you.
Well, can she vote? Does she
Absolutely.
vote? She can.
She can vote for herself. of
Okay,
course.
I just wanted to make sure, that, well,
She can
I
vote
don't
to
know
have
these rules.
herself.
I know, isn't it?
All right, our last new business item, good heavens, and poor Holzman sitting here. We need to make a decision. It has been his tradition, since I've been involved, that the board votes to not have a meeting in July.
I second
I'll
that.
second.
And we need a motion before we have a second.
I move that we not meet in July for the COA board meeting.
Thank you, I second that one.
Okay, we have a motion to, and it's been seconded,
Okay.
to not have a meeting in July, and our next meeting then would be in August, on August 13th.
Right.
Correct. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, that's unanimous. So, and I will notify Diane Croy, she needs to be notified of that. All right. Come up, would you like to take, you can sit right here and use this microphone if you'd like. Sorry, Nicole.
That's okay. Okay.
Nicole is representing everybody practically. But you have the director's report in your packet. I do not think you need to read it out loud unless you would like to. All right, and we'll let Nicole do the outreach report.
Okay. And Tina sent all of the numbers to everybody?
Yeah.
You have those?
Yeah.
Okay.
They do.
So for the summer, in July, so there's going to be no Veterans Breakfast in July or August. It's starting back up in September. Living Alone group is not meeting in July or August. Caregiver support is meeting in July, but they're not meeting in August. So we have some things on hold for the summer. Coming up in July, Minuteman Senior Services is doing a presentation on food safety on July 11th at 11 o'clock.
You're going to get this to me afterwards? Thank
Yes.
you.
We have District Attorney Marion Ryan is coming to speak on the opioid epidemic on July 16th at 6 p.m. Members of the Littleton Coalition Against Addiction are going to be there before and after the presentation with resources and information so people can come a little early and linger a little bit afterwards. There's going to be a jazz trio at the library July 26th at 2 p.m. We have Social Anxiety is going to meet 3 times in July, the 3rd, the 17th, and the 31st.
Yeah, I don't think we got it.
Bereavement Group is meeting July 19th and August 16th. And like I said, Caregiver Support, July 25th. Bridges in Westford is going to be speaking.
These will all be in the broadcaster?
Yes.
Great.
And returning in mid-July, the farmers market coupons are going to be coming back. So anyone interested can contact Tina or myself to get the income qualification guidelines. And that's it.
Thank you.
Still sounds busy.
Is it, is it, is it?
I'd like to make a comment. Marion Ryan is a wonderful speaker. I've heard her speak before when she's come to Littleton. And that really sounds interesting.
Yeah.
That really does.
I think it's going to be really good. And LCTV is going to be recording it, so you'll be able to watch it on TV if you can't make
Oh, that's
it.
even good too, yeah. Good. It's a hot topic now.
Oh, yeah. Who is she, though? Mary Rose?
She's the district attorney. Yeah.
Okay.
When there's a really bad accident or something bad happened, you often see her on the scene. Right?
Yes,
Yeah, you see her on the news a lot. So she's very, very good. All right,
That's it.
that's it. Thank you, Nicole, and I'm so sorry you had to sit there. so
No,
much.
that's okay.
And Bob, I bumped you just to let Nicole, here you go. Let Nicole get her job done.
Okay, there's nothing spectacular in the reports for this month. They're standard stuff, basically salaries and a few expenses. Everything's fine. We have money to cover the rest of the year, so any questions?
No?
That was concise and brief to the point. Thank you.
Thank you.
And as I said, you all see the director's report in your packet. Okay.
Bob, can I see that paper for a minute?
I think.
I know. I'll give it right back to him.
Right back to you. Jean, do you want to say anything about your handouts? Do you want to say anything about these?
Oh, no, it's just information from Minuteman.
These handouts that you received, yeah.
Yeah.
Their information, Jean has still maintained contact with Jean Johnson is our representative at Minuteman Services. They're the people, obviously, that we are a part of it. Yeah. And Jean usually attends monthly meetings there, but she hadn't been able to, but she's been maintaining contact, on the computer and stuff with him, so they're very happy with her, even though she hasn't been physically present. So these are handouts from Minuteman, and if you ever have any questions about Minuteman, if she doesn't have an answer, she can get the answer or guide you. Just for people dating and leaving don't know that. So, I just didn't
really
want you to wonder
updating
what this
things.
was all about, but that's why Jan, and she does share information with us when she gets it. All right, very good.
Move we adjourn the meeting.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.